Fellow Falcoholics, what is up? Welcome to the Falcoholic Live's Falcons Q&A session for our patrons for the month of March. I realize it's not March. We appreciate you guys' patience on that. You know, we wanted to save it for when we get some interesting topics. So this seemed like a very good time with lots of interesting information coming out. So before we get started, guys, I just want to thank all of our patrons. I know not everyone could be here tonight. We keep trying to have these at slightly different times so that, various people with different schedules can get in. So to everyone here, I know George Costanza is here, Kevin Dog, Solaire, all of you guys, we really appreciate your monthly support. And you guys were some of the earliest people to back the show. You've been watching us for a really long time. So we just wanted to reiterate how much we appreciate you guys. And the early adopters are great. And to all of our new patrons, I know we've got some new faces here as well. Thank you guys as well. We just appreciate you guys allowing us to do what we love to do. And, we just appreciate your contributions and tuning in every month and helping to support and promote the show. You guys are awesome. So thank you for that. Now that that's over with, let me introduce our wonderful guest for tonight's Q&A. First of all, you know her as the unbossable Gina Thomas. She is at Gina Thomas on Twitter. Gina, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Kevin. Thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Also with us tonight, we have Eric Robinson at _Eric_Robinson. Eric, how are you doing tonight? Eric, hello, buddy.
You're mute. I'm sorry.
It's okay. He's being polite with his mute. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Doing pretty good.
Good. Also with us, we have Evan Birchfield at the very easy to remember at Evan Birchfield on Twitter. Evan, how are you?
I am good as well. Thank you.
Excellent. And finally, Adnan Ikic at Say Which Way. Adnan, how are you this evening?
Well, I'm not doing so well. No, I'm kidding. I'm fine.
Yeah. Somebody's got to do the Benjamin Solak intro where he says everything's delicious. I feel like it makes the audience uncomfortable. So maybe I'll start doing that one as well. It's just interesting enough. But yeah, guys, I know we have a bunch of questions from folks on Patreon. We also have some questions from the chat. George mentions that he's just loaded up 44,000 pounds of glass out of New Jersey, and he's currently driving through Newark to get to I-80, take it all the way to Chicago. George, good luck on that, buddy. Thank you for being the lifeblood of America and helping to get that glass where it needs to go. All of us here at the Falcoholic appreciate you. Truck drivers don't get enough props, I think. It's a tough job, so we appreciate you.
I couldn't do that.
No, man, it's hardcore. So thank you again for that. And also, for your support and the endless Kyle Pitts takes. I know Eric really appreciates those. So
Can't have a show without him.
Can't have a show without him. They keep us on our toes. So first of all, we will get to one of George's questions. So he says, with Carolina no longer in the mix for moving up to get a quarterback, we've got a few possible teams left with the Broncos, Patriots, and Washington football team. I don't want to miss out on Pitts, as you would expect. So what would the Falcons be looking for at this point to get them to trade down and consider, passing on someone like Pitts or a quarterback? So does anybody want to take the first crack at that one?
Sure. For me, minimum, it would be multiple first rounders. So your first this year, a first next year, and a day 2 pick. And that's to start negotiations. And if a team doesn't come with that, then I'm happy to just stay at 4. The Falcons should not trade out just for the sake of trading back.
Yeah, I agree with that. To touch on not wanting to miss out on Kyle Pitts, there's a slight chance that the Falcons were to pull off a trade with Detroit at 7 and do a smaller trade down, that Pitts could still be there. It seems to be the consensus that people think the Dolphins are going to take Pitts at 6. Or Cincy. But it's possible. I think the only way that the Falcons could get Pitts in a trade down is going to 7 with the Lions. Obviously, the compensation would be lower because it's only 3 spots. But if Pitts is somebody the Falcons are really zeroed in on and want a chance to draft, 7's probably the safest. But you might not be able to get a future first for that drop. Probably can get some day 2 picks.
I'd be cool for a second.
Yeah,
I'd be cool.
Even if they were to trade down and remain in the top 10, I will want at least more than 1 pick. So
yeah.
For example, if they were to trade down from Detroit, go from 4 to 7, at least a day 2 pick and maybe a 5th round pick. I'll settle.
Right.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, like a third and a fourth, or maybe a second and a fifth.
Something like that,
Something
yeah.
like that. Yeah. Detroit also has a lot of extra picks, so they might be willing to go a little bit higher in terms of compensation to get their guy because they have the extra ammunition that some of those other teams might not want. But yeah, anybody else have a take on that?
Well, Washington, I mean, the Broncos and Patriots make sense, but Washington, I think they're what, 19? That's a pretty good drop. So you're going to want significant value compared to those two because they're a little close. I think Patriots are what, 15, and then Broncos are like 9 or 10 or something. So, I mean, you have to consider that too. That drop to Washington. But, I mean, I think the Bears are one pick behind Washington, so they may even, I mean, is Andy Dalton really their quarterback? Like, I mean, I don't know if I completely buy into that. So they may offer something if Washington is, because hell, that's only one pick.
Right.
Not to mention, GM, you got to keep in mind, you know what these teams are trading up for. They're trading up for a quarterback. And one position teams would be willing to overpay for, it's a quarterback.
The quarterback tax. San Francisco paid it.
Exactly. So if Washington wants to come from 19 to 5, you know, they may, let's just say, like Adnan said, to just to have the conversation of
everything. I want everything.
Right. Like I'm looking for about 3 or 4 picks, honestly, at the very least. Washington wants to be that far up for a quarterback.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
What helps the Falcons too is, you know, before this whole Mac Jones thing, if San Francisco does end up going Mac Jones, all of a sudden it's not moving up for one of those quarterbacks. Like there's technically going to be 2 quarterbacks that all these teams might want. So,
no, can we just take a second and just imagine the reaction on the Falcoholic Live show, the draft special, which we will have again this year.
Shout out.
If San Francisco takes Mac Jones at number 3.
I mean, it seems like that's what's happening. I know we have questions about that too, so I don't want to like totally. Yeah, I can see Gina's like got some takes on that for sure. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Don't worry, folks. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be wild, absolutely wild if that happens. I mean, like I want to say it's impossible because I don't think Kyle Shanahan's that stupid. But like NFL teams screw up like all the time, so it's really not off the table. But
I mean, the Bears gave up so much to move up one spot a few years ago to get Trubisky.
Yeah.
Even though nobody wanted him.
Yeah. Yeah, right? I mean, it's totally possible. Yeah, and I mean, to give you an example of what the Falcons might be wanting from Washington to move down to 19, I actually did this on our roundtable a couple days ago. If you guys haven't seen it, maybe it was even today that it came out. I can't remember. But basically, I traded like fourth, overall, the first round pick, plus our later 5th rounder, like 183, to Washington. And on the Draft Network simulator, I was able to get back 19, their 2nd rounder this year, and one of their 3rd rounders, the later one, or the earlier one. And then also their 4th rounder this year, and then a 2022 first. And that was a dicey trade. They were like right on the edge. Sometimes I would propose it and they would take it, and sometimes I wouldn't. They wouldn't. Okay. So what's that?
They said okay to that?
They did. So, but it was like right on the cusp. So like we might not be able to get that 4th, but when I threw in that 5th, they gave me the 4th. So, but yeah, I mean, I think they also keep in mind Washington has an extra 3rd. So if they still have a day 2 pick, even if they were to give up that sort of compensation. They also have like a bunch of 5ths and like some 7ths and stuff like that. So they do have some more like picks. They wouldn't be giving up their entire class, but yeah, I mean, that sort of move back for a quarterback would require like a ridiculous offer. So
you got to think about it from that standpoint, man. That's two picks in 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th round, along with a 1st for next year. Yeah. I'm doing my mock coming out Thursday. Shout out to that. We'll have this scenario, and the Falcons get some tremendous talent with those picks. I mean, loading up on those day 2 picks, that's where the meat of this class is. So that I think is something they should try to do if they can, if they want to go that route. But yeah, it's wild. All right. So yeah, speaking of Mac Jones, want to get to Eddie Greer III's question here. Do you believe in the Mac Jones hype, aka him being a top 5 pick in the draft? So Gina, I know you got some takes on that, so I want to let you get the opportunity here to go first on this one.
Mute. Gina, you're muted.
You're mute.
You just went off, and people already missed the tirade.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah.
Right. And I hope you guys heard that because she's not repeating it. All right.
I will repeat it. I really don't. I really don't think that he is a top 5 pick. I've seen people ranking him above Fields, and it's just kind of offensive to me.
Yeah,
as a
I know it
fan.
is to you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have seen a lot. There is a lot of smoke around San Francisco really liking him. People are making comparisons to Matt Ryan, which, I haven't watched. I've only watched a few games with Mac Jones. I don't think that it's enough for me to really have an opinion on that, but I didn't really see it in the games that I've watched. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I could see Kyle taking him, and Kyle is obviously a very good offensive mind, offensive coach. Yeah. But yeah, no, I do not see it at all. And I don't know if you guys saw, but Nick Saban said that the Niners did not ask him anything about Mac Jones at the Alabama Pro Day, which I think that's kind of weird. If they really do like him that much, it seems like they would have at least spoken about him.
You would think so. Yeah, I mean, It is weird. It all like the quickness with how the Mac Jones rumors took off and how it quickly dominated the number 3 pick is what made me suspicious, because that screams of a concerted effort. And I think they were doing it with the idea that maybe the Jets possibly could have traded out of 2, and so they wanted to conceal who they really wanted in case, if they made it obvious that they wanted, say, Trey Lance, and then somebody wanted Trey Lance traded up to 2, they'd be like, oh crap. But now obviously they don't need to smokescreen anymore. There's not really a point to it, so it is a little bit confusing. But I just if you want to take Mac, say the Dolphins decided they wanted to take Mac Jones at 3 or something, whatever, whoever was sitting, or say the Panthers at 8, if they decided they liked Mac Jones and he was the 5th quarterback off the board, that's okay. It's a little early, but 1 first-round pick for Mac Jones, if you really like him, I think that's reasonable. But 3 first-round picks, trading up into the top 5, and not just that, passing on Justin Fields, who's a lot more talented, both physically and in terms of arm. And even Trey Lance, who I think is a little bit more, accuracy-wise, not quite where Mac Jones is, but physically, they're in completely different planets. So to pass on those players and give up 3 firsts to draft Mac Jones, I just don't get it on any level. Mac Jones is probably going to come into the NFL and be a perfectly fine starter. I think Matt Ryan is probably his ceiling. I don't think he's going to reach that ceiling, likely, unless he gets a really great cast around him. Easy there. I think that's his absolute ceiling. He's not as physically talented as Matt Ryan was coming out. And we don't even talk about Matt Ryan being this very physically talented quarterback. He's not even that level. Right, man. Right.
I mean, Dave does talk about how physically gifted he is every time he poetically describes Matt Ryan running on Twitter.
If you've ever seen Matt Ryan's high school tape, he's a running quarterback first and foremost. He just trucks all those little kids. So.
I will say Mac Jones with the dad bod in the NFL, that's far more inspiring to many, many people than, the 6-pack that I'm sure Trey Lance and Justin Fields have.
Trey Lance is shredded. That man, I would be afraid to tackle him.
Fields probably had a 6-pack as an 11-year-old.
Yeah, they're both shredded. So it's I mean, I don't get it. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. I don't know. In today's NFL, I don't know what Mac Jones does that Justin Fields doesn't do.
What I want to figure out is, okay, I'll put it to you this way. I do think it's on the table. Now, there are some analysts who are coming out and saying it's a sure thing. The Niners are going for Mac Jones. Mac Jones is the pick at 3. I'm not going that far. I do think it's on the table. What I'm trying to figure out is what team from 3 to 12 scared the Niners enough to trade up for Mac Jones.
That's the Falcons.
Terry Fontenot with the 5-dimensional chess.
It's interesting you say that because once the Niners trade was made, I automatically thought, okay, they're trading up for Fields. They finally heard enough tea leaves here and there to say, all right, the Falcons are really going after Fields, so let's hop them.
I think that's one of those where right now Falcons Twitter is in like a massive civil war, right, over what to do with that pick.
Oh,
I think Mac Jones at 4 would be the one pick where everybody would be furious.
It would unite the fan base in that way. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can't. That is one thing I can't figure out, because this is that time of the year, like Gina pointed out. This is, there's plenty of smoke screens, and sometimes you have to read in between the lines here and there. And she pointed that out about Nick Saban. Like, that's one thing to keep in mind. Normally, when these teams go up for quarterbacks, they do talk to their head coaches. Dabo Sweeney and Urban Meyer were chatting it up during Trevor Lawrence's pro day. That's just something that coaches do. So for Saban to come out and say that never happened, that's something to keep in mind. But
it is. And I mean, you especially talk to that player's coach if that coach is Nick Saban.
Right.
The most successful college coach. Wouldn't you want to know what he has to say about it?
You would think so.
Yeah, that seems like normal due diligence.
That's just one thing I'm trying to understand. Like, what team was it that just, like I said, scared?
It's Carolina. If anyone, it was Carolina.
It would have been Carolina. No.
I think Carolina was the other team competing for the third pick, honestly. Like, I'm sure others were interested. I bet the bidding war was primarily with Carolina.
So you don't think okay.
I don't think it was about Mac Jones. I think that's a lie. But
you think it was more about the pick itself than Mac Jones?
Yes. I don't think it's Mac Jones. I think it's, I don't know why. It might just be the 49ers just having fun with the league just because. Like, teams do this. Like, if I could do this and, like, throw everyone on some kind of wild goose chase just for the lulz, I mean, I probably would. But
teams know more about the draft at this point, at this stage of the draft, than a lot of people realize. The Niners knew enough at that point to make that trade. You don't trade 3 first rounders to go up to 3 if you don't have enough information to prompt you to do something like that. Like, that is a huge move.
And I would probably think it was with Carolina, and I think San Francisco knew that. And just because we all know, like, the Falcons are never trading with the Panthers, I would like to think that when the 49ers were filing this trade through, that as they were doing it, they were like, watch us ruin Carolina's entire offseason with this.
They basically did, yeah.
They did. I felt so bad for David Tepper at that point, because plan A was Deshaun. That's going to hell. Plan B was to trade up, and that's going to hell now too. And so they were stuck with their 3rd or 4th option, which was to trade for Sam Darnold. So their plan this offseason to get a franchise quarterback went up in flames immediately.
Right. It did. Yeah. And honestly, I believe San Francisco was afraid that the Falcons wanted Trey Lance at 4 and were planning to take him. So I think, honestly, they traded up for Trey Lance. And that's not what I would have done. Like, I think Justin Fields is probably the better prospect, definitely the safer prospect. But I don't think, like, I think it's more defensible if they ended up trading up for Trey Lance, because I think that's who the Falcons want. So, that makes sense to me. I don't know if the Panthers wanted Trey Lance. I think the Panthers seemed like they were maybe more interested in Justin Fields. And honestly, they might still have a chance to get him, which would be like the ultimate irony. If they like trade all this, the 49ers take Mac Jones, the Falcons take Justin Fields, and then like Trey Lance is still there. It's
draft night. Yeah. Draft night comes. The Panthers on the clock, and Tepper is looking at Justin Fields, and he's like, "I traded for Darnold. God damn it!"
Oh, what the hell? Yeah, exactly. That would be the ultimate troll if they just like made this panic move for Darnold, and then Fields is just sitting there at 8. Like,
oh man,
it's wild. Yeah, I still expect it to be Fields at 3, but I wouldn't shock me if it was Lance. It would shock me if it was Mac Jones, because that is a colossal mistake. Like, I don't know why you would trade 3 firsts for
Mac
Jimmy
Jones,
Garoppolo.
no matter what.
They already
Mac
have
Jones,
Jimmy
no matter
Garoppolo.
what.
We don't need Jimmy Garoppolo. We have Jimmy Garoppolo at home.
Does everybody here feels he's for sure a first round pick, Mac Jones?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because of the quarterback value. Like, yes, because he's a quarterback, absolutely.
Okay.
I think because he's closer to the top than he is that next wave of quarterbacks.
Yeah, after Jones, it falls off a cliff.
But I would say definitely like later first.
I think I actually have him as like a 2nd round grade, because I think he can be like a competent NFL starter and maybe an above average starter in the right offense. But like,
hypothetically, if he fell to like 19 and Washington took him, you guys would be like, okay, that's
yeah. The discourse has shifted too far. Yeah. Like, people are like, oh, Mac Jones sucks now. It's like, Mac Jones doesn't suck. He's just not a top 3 pick. Like, that's all. Like, it can be true that he's not worth 3 firsts and also worth a first-round pick. It's just not 3rd overall. Like, 19, absolutely. To the Steelers, sure. To the Saints later, I mean, thanks, I hate it. But, like, yeah, that would make sense. So
no, they're going to take Kyle Trask.
Hell yeah.
I'm getting Trubisky vibes with this. Because if you go back to Trubisky's last year, it was really that one year that vaulted him to, the top of the food chain, I guess, when it comes to quarterbacks. And he was the first quarterback off the board. This feels like that all over again for some reason. I honestly believe Mac Jones is in play. I'm not going to say he's the pick, but I think it is for sure. Like, I think he's on the table right now for the Niners.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if it happens and we end up with Mahomes or Watson, like the Trubisky year, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm down.
The
totally
NFL's
down for that.
It's happened.
Yeah, teams don't do the right thing most of the time, so it wouldn't shock me from that angle, that's for sure. All right, so from Solaire, one of our longest tenured viewers, thank you, Solaire, for your support, man. He says, the most important question is, with a new general manager and head coach, are we going to bring back the weekly sacrifice articles? It's quite obvious the absence has been costing us wins. I'm sure Terry won't mind. So, what do you guys think?
We do have the main person, the main boss of the Falcoholic here. So, Gina, this is all you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that what we have here is an opportunity to blame Matt Chambers for all of the losses here recently, because Matt has not been writing them. And so, yeah, I mean, they are definitely a fan favorite. They are one of my favorites. I am always in favor of sacrificing members of the Falcons organization to the Big Metal Falcon. They generally deserve it. Look, after Super Bowl 51, I think that it's the least that we can do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else we're supposed to get results if not trying to appease Samuel L. Falcon. Like, I don't know how else we can expect that to change. So
exactly.
Yeah. So Arthur Smith, you better get some wins going, or the sacrifices are going to start. That's a threat. So
not all of us feel that way, Arthur Smith. And
yeah, Eric would still like his credentials. Thank you.
I would.
We get a fresh start, and we're already like starting to.
Yeah, we're already doing. Good thing this stream is still private. I have time to edit that out.
Let's establish the relationship first, and then we bring the articles in slowly.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to some more questions from Darrell Moore II. He says, let's say the Falcons trade back to number 9 with Denver. He's asking about what kind of players we would like to take there. He mentions Patrick Surtain or perhaps someone like Rashawn Slater or Vera Tucker to play guard initially, maybe, move out to tackle at some point. Who would you guys like to target at the 9th overall pick if we traded down?
I think Parsons will be there at 9. He'd be a nice pick. And Surtain, I'm definitely for rebuilding the secondary and, getting another shutdown type guy like Surtain opposite of AJ Terrell. I think we'd have a formidable cornerback duo. I wouldn't take any defensive player in this draft at 4, but I definitely would if we went back to 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's fair. I really like Surtain. Caleb Farley has fallen a lot because of his back issue. But if the Falcons are confident that's not like a career-threatening injury, Caleb Farley could still be there at 9, and he is my cornerback 1 if health wasn't an issue. I think that Farley would definitely be someone to consider, but with the injury risk, maybe not. I mean, I love Elijah Vera Tucker. That would be probably controversial to take a guard at 9, but Vera Tucker can play tackle if needed, but I think he's an elite guard. So if Arthur Smith is sold on Vera Tucker as like a Quentin Nelson level guard, then I don't think it's outlandish at all to take him at 9. But it would be a little unusual. So that's why someone like Rashawn Slater, like you mentioned, Darryl, could be an option, because Rashawn Slater absolutely has tackle upside, but has played guard as well. So he could play guard for a year or two, give the Falcons some flexibility to potentially maybe take over for Jake Matthews in a few years, maybe take over for McGarry if he struggles, that sort of thing. So I think all those players you mentioned are good. I agree with Adnan, too, that Micah Parsons should be in that conversation. Anybody else?
I'm all for dropping the 9 and taking Surtain and one-upping Dan Quinn and the Cowboys at 10. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's who they're eyeing at 10. So
yeah. Just to give Dan Quinn one more middle finger to send him off. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Cowboys fans are really big on him also. And so he is Dan Quinn kind of player. So I would be happy to have him too.
Yeah. I mean, that would
fast
be a big,
and physical. Yes.
Yes, very fast and physical. That would be a big addition to the defense to get a player like Surtain or Farley or Parsons or something like that too. So yeah, I'm not at all opposed to one of those players, especially in a trade down where you're picking up additional day 2 capital. I mean, that's certainly a way to get this team in sort of a win now position, because they do need some key players. But I think if you get the offense sorted out with, like, you need a left guard, but you can get a left guard in the second round. So like if you can get an impact defensive player at 9 and then load up, get Landon Dickerson, Creed Humphrey, Wyatt Davis, someone like that in the second round to shore up left guard, and then get a running back at some point to help out Mike Davis. And I think this offense is top 5. Like, I think it has that sort of potential. So if you get a top 5 offense, that covers up a lot of defensive problems. And hopefully you can get some contributions from some other rookies. But yeah, I mean, that is, if they're interested in trying to win now with this, this staff and this quarterback, that is probably the best way to do it. So
we could always galaxy brain it and take Vera Tucker at 4.
Well, I think Vera Tucker is going to be a really good player. So I guess worst case scenario, you have a really good player, but it would not be plus value. Yeah.
Adnan wants chaos. I see that.
I want to see Falcons Twitter burn.
I mean, the sad thing is, like, I wouldn't be upset with Vera Tucker at 4 in the fact that, like, I know we're getting a really good player, but it's not plus value. I mean, but at least you're getting a good player. So
quick question for you guys. How would you guys feel if they were to take a receiver? Because I know you guys seen enough of, Jamar Chase and even Devontae Smith.
What about, like, at 9 or at 4? Yeah.
At 9.
Okay.
At 9? If we're getting Chase at 9, that's BPA.
Or just
like that. That's 100% BPA. I'm here for that.
In general. You guys
I mean,
you guys wouldn't mind that, or?
I don't know how comfortable I'd be with Devonta Smith. I feel like Calvin Ridley and Smith are, like, a little too similar. Like, I would probably prefer someone like Waddle. But if it was Waddle, or I think Jamar Chase, obviously, I think I could hear an argument for it, especially. Waddle, I think you could make an argument maybe he's the best player available, depending on who's there. But Chase would be, I think, something that makes a lot of sense from just a pure BPA perspective. Waddle, maybe a little bit less, but it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. Like, we know Julio's not going to be here for that much longer. Like, he's probably going to play out his contract, and then we're going to go from there. Yeah. But
again, the only stipulation with if we take Chase is AJ Terrell has to fist fight him in the parking lot for that national championship game.
Yes. Well, obviously that's implied. So
they'll just create, like, a human circle around Chase and AJ Terrell on the first day of training camp, and then they can set their differences aside.
Yeah. All right, we've got a question from Russell Tritt, one of our newest patrons. Thanks, Russell, for signing up. We appreciate you, man. He says, what do you guys think about all the different leaks that seem to be coming out about the Falcons draft plan? So I assume he means the stuff this week about them, being interested in trading down. I'm not worried about it. It's probably coordinated. It's probably on purpose. I think the Falcons benefit from teams knowing they want to trade down. But the Falcons have leaked every single option. They've leaked, we want Pitts. They've leaked, we want a quarterback. They've leaked, we don't want a quarterback. They've leaked, we want to trade down. They've leaked, we're happy staying at 4. So, like, at this point, they're like a wild card capable of doing anything, and that's exactly what they want to be. So I guess I'm not concerned about it, but I don't know how you guys feel.
They haven't really solidified anything as far as what they're going to do it for. So I want it to stay that way. I want draft night to come, and it's the 3rd pick overall, and teams are still thinking, what the hell are the Falcons going to do? That's what I want. So, I mean, if there, rumors about them wanting to trade down, like, we knew that anyway. We knew that they were going to field calls anyway. Just about everything is on the table for the Falcons right now at 4. So whatever's being leaked out there, I wouldn't even say leaked. I mean, like I said, we already knew that they were going to entertain that possibility of trading down. So
yeah,
I wouldn't put a whole lot into it anyway, unless we actually get a report that a team specifically has reached out to the Falcons about trading down. Then things change a little bit at that point.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what Kevin said. It's just coordinated. They're just throwing everything out into the media to the point where now nobody has any idea what we're going to do. And I mean, that's the spot you want to be at. It's
I've actually talked to writers from about 3 or 4 different teams, and every last one of them are like, "What the hell are the Falcons going to do?"
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing I need Fontenot to create a Twitter account and to just put out the eye emojis. Just tweet that out. Just that.
Just because to burn down Twitter. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild.
No one knows what the Falcons are going to do. I mean, we can build a general idea, but at the same time, honestly, I'm fine with them. I'm fine with us not really knowing what the Falcons are going to do because, like, Kevin points out literally every episode, we built over the years during Dimitrov years. Like, we eventually figured out what the hell they were going to do. We knew their hand beforehand. We knew exactly what direction they were going to go. So this is kind of different. This is a little more refreshing.
Yeah, definitely. It is a bit different. And yeah, it is kind of, it's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be a fun year. So, I'm excited.
And the Falcons have all the power too. It's like basically like selling something on eBay, and you have like a bidding war happening. Except at the end, you don't have to sell it. You can just be like, I'm good. So you want those other people to be interested in bidding. That's the whole point of it. If maybe there's only 1 or 2 teams like contacting them, and then they see that report and they were kind of on the fence, they're like, oh. Other people, maybe they felt confident that they would have a chance to move up to the Falcons pick. Now, all of a sudden, they think, oh, well, there might be 2 other teams competing against us. We need to up the value a little bit or whatever. So, I mean, there's so much stuff happening behind the scenes that we have no idea, and it's probably been happening for months. So,
well, worst case, the Falcons pick top 5 and get either their quarterback or a generational tackle or a generational tight end. And I'd like to reiterate that this is why you tank when you are completely out of it.
Yes, because we are 1 win away from being the Panthers. So
because if Todd Gurley scores, if he doesn't fall into the end zone, if he doesn't score, we're picking 9th.
Yep. So, small miracles, folks. Small miracles. All right, Daryl Moore with another question. He asks, "I want to know your most underrated prospects in the draft on offense and defense." For him, it would be Drake Jackson, the center from Kentucky, and Jamian Sherwood, the safety from Auburn. But what are some draft takes, most underrated players on offense and defense in this class? I know Eric has some draft takes, so I'll let him go first.
Oh, man. Underrated prospects on offense. Ooh.
Mac Jones.
It's impossible for him to be underrated at this point.
Amari Rodgers.
Yeah.
Out of Clemson, receiver out of Clemson. Brevin Jordan, tight end out of Miami. Gainwell. Gainwell could be so good at the next level.
Yeah, he could be really good. Yeah.
Trying to think. Oh man, one guy that is probably not going to get picked to day 3, but I would absolutely love his skill set on this roster. Just give him some time. Jonathan Adams, receiver out of Arkansas State. 6'4", 220. He's built like Julio Jones. The real issue with him, he runs like one route.
Yeah.
Go. But if you put time. Yeah. If you put on his tape, he beats everybody in the go route. I love his physical skill set. He's one guy that I want to keep an eye on in day 3. On the defensive side of the ball, I mentioned him before, Richie Grant, Hamza Nasruddin, safety out of Florida State, Jordan Smith, edge rusher out of UAB, Levi
Onwuzurike. Yeah.
Defensive tackle out of Washington.
Yeah, he's my DT too. Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah, he was wonderful at Senior Bowl. He was throwing people around. Yeah, those are just a few guys that come off the top of my head. On both sides.
Yeah. Let's see. I can take some. Yeah, I mean on offense, I really like Jamar Jefferson from Oregon State. Injuries have been a thing with him, but he didn't perform. He used to be like an elite athlete. The injuries, he's had a lot of ankle injuries. They've kind of robbed him of that a little bit. He didn't test great at his pro day, but his vision might be the best in the whole class. Like has exceptional vision. So he's really underrated, I think, as a day 3 running back. He can be a starter for you. He kind of reminds me of Freeman a little bit. So he's a guy that I like a lot, someone to watch on day 3. There's a bunch of wide receivers. I mean, I love Marlon Williams from UCF. You need to teach him how to run more routes, but he's built like a running back, and he is just so dynamic after the catch. He is just dangerous. So I like him a lot as a day 3 guy. Let's see who else on offense. Yeah, all the names I'm thinking of are not really like super underrated guys. I mean, I really love Creed Humphrey. Like I would consider Creed Humphrey in the first round. Had a 10.0 RAS grade from Kent LaPlatte. So that means literally he is the most impressive center that's ever tested in terms of athletic traits.
Quinn Manners.
Yeah, he's good too. Yeah.
Quinn Manners, interior offensive lineman from Wisconsin Whitewater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was great at the Senior Bowl. Yeah.
Big name. He was arguably the star of Senior Bowl. I mean, he outplayed a lot of guys. Look at his tape. This guy's exactly what you want your interior offensive lineman to be. He's rugged. Actually, I want you to watch his off-season training tape.
Okay.
The guy carries logs in the off-season.
What a beast.
In freezing weather to train. That's what you want on the interior to protect Matt Ryan.
Yeah. I'm into it. For sure. Let's see. On the defensive side, I really like Kieris Tonga from BYU. As an early day 3 guy, I think he can be a really good nose tackle. I think he has some upside as a pass rusher. He needs to he's the rare nose tackle that probably has to get better at run blocking, at like run defending. He can move really well. Like he's actually like a penetrator at nose tackle, but he's got tremendous size, tremendous physical gifts. He needs to be a little bit better at taking on double teams and stuff like that, but he has a lot of upside for a day 3 nose tackle. Let's see. I really like Hamilcar Rashid Jr. I've been a big fan of his for a while. He needs some time. He needs to be refined a little bit, but athletically very impressive. Quincy Roche from Miami. I feel like everyone's just forgotten about him. He's just really technically sound. I think he can be a day 1 starter. Not like a sky-high upside guy, but like a 5 to 7 sack guy in the right system. Yeah, I think so.
I think he can do 9 or 10 a season.
Maybe. Yeah.
But he can be a solid pro.
Yeah. Another edge, maybe Taron Jackson from Coastal Carolina. I think he has good upside. I like him a lot. Taron the Terror. He's got a built-in nickname, man. So I'm a big fan of him. And then at safety, a guy that I really like that probably needs more hype is James Wiggins from Cincinnati. A great like hybrid safety prospect.
Super athletic.
Yeah, his RAS was nuts too. He's had some injuries, so I was like, oh, he might not test super well. No, he's over it. He's over the injuries. Crazy testing.
Had a couple knee injuries while in school, and that kind of set him back a little bit.
Yeah, so James Wiggins definitely a name to watch as a late day 2, early day 3 safety. If the Falcons, have to wait a little bit, if they miss out on like Richie Grant, Javon Holland, those guys. There's a lot of really good safeties in this class. The Falcons are going to be able to get someone somewhere that can play. It just depends on how early they want to invest. I wouldn't be shocked if they take 2. I would definitely take 2 if they could. Like I think I had them taking Jamar Johnson and James Wiggins in one mock. So yeah.
This is obviously a Patreon question, but I have a question for all of you that I think is just kind of interesting. If you had to bet everything that this guy, one of the guys anywhere in the draft, is going to be a Falcon at the end of the draft, who would it be? Like if you were your most confidence, and don't give me like Fields, like give me something, something out of the first round. I guess.
Not hot enough for you, Evan.
Stop it. Yeah. Who wants to go first on that one?
I mean, it's tough because we don't know this new regime that well, so you probably would have been able to guess it better in past years, but
Gainwell.
Kind of curious.
Yeah, I was gonna say Gainwell too. That's funny. I mean, it's also because we know they've talked with Gainwell, so that's a little bit cheating. But
okay, so you want to throw that one out the window too?
Well, I mean, you can use that one.
I think it's fair.
I think that one's
a fair one.
Yeah, I think that one's okay. I just need to come up with a new one.
I can dive a little deeper.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like, I don't even know what this regime is thinking it for, let alone afterwards.
Well, that's why it's spicy.
Just so we have it on video and we can crop it after the draft to be like, exactly. Oh, look, Eric called it.
Yep.
There's one guy. Wow.
Yeah, I also would have said Gainwell, so that's funny.
I'll go with Richie Grant.
God damn it! That was my next.
Got him.
Wow, that's a good question, Evan.
Mac Jones is still on the table, Eric.
Mac Jones still available.
I don't want to. I want to do a little something like off the grid a little bit.
Yeah, I'll go with Creed Humphrey. They were sniffing around centers in free agency with David Andrews. And I love Creed. He's versatile, can play in both schemes. But his athletic testing shocked me. Like, I thought he was a good athlete, but like the best center of all time athletically, like that's kind of crazy. So I think they are going to target a day 2 offensive lineman. I think that's going to be their second round pick. But okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Joseph Osai.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that would not shock me. He would be a good guy for Dean Pease for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like one of those guys, like Osai, Hamilcar Rashed, Quincy Roche.
Perkins.
Yeah. Somebody that's played, a little hand in the dirt, little stand up. One of those versatile guys. Yeah, one of those guys I think for sure. But yeah, I'm just not sure which one it'll be.
I will say this, and I'm pretty sure Kevin will agree with me on this as well. I think in the past with the last regime, okay, we knew for a while the type of players that they look for, and it was more of those raw type guys that would take a couple years to kind of mold and you see what the finished product is going to be, what's going to look like. I think with this regime, I think they're going to focus a lot more on those guys that's been playing for like 2 or 3 years, maybe senior captains. Stuff like that. Like they're going to look a lot more for a finished product, unless it's that rare athlete that they can't pass up. But I think they're going to focus a little more on that.
I will say that when Evan asks us this 4 years from now, I think we'll have a firmer grasp of the answer, having watched 4 draft classes.
Yeah. From
Fontenot and Smith. Because, I mean, to be honest, toward the end of that Dan Quinn regime last year, I'm sure we had, like, some idea.
We were calling several. Like, AJ Terrell, like, I mocked him in the second to the Falcons, like, 3 times. That we were talking about that on another show. It's like every time I mock someone in the second, the Falcons end up taking him in the first. But
and then I also mocked, my last one, I mocked Michael Walker and Matt Hennessy. So we figured it out.
Yeah. I think we both mocked Hennessy at some point. Yeah. So it's like they were getting very obvious. They weren't very good at hiding who they were interested in either. So that contributed.
I feel confident that this regime is going to look more for those type of players. Those guys has been 3 or 4 year starters, maybe senior captains. Those guys that are NFL ready to step.
Yeah. That's why I like Creed. Creed's captained that offensive line for years.
He's been there 8 years.
Yeah, I feel like he's been there forever. He could have come out last year and been a quasi first round pick. So, I'm a big Creed fan. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do think they're going to take an offensive lineman in the second round because I think that's where the talent really is. If they trade down and have multiple picks, it could be with 35. It could be with a later pick. We'll see. But I think that second round pick, you can kind of pencil it in as offensive line unless someone crazy falls.
So they trade down and get an extra second in the third. Let me run the draft. Please.
Yeah,
we can go.
It gets spicy. Yeah,
let's do it, please.
Yeah, very spicy. I'm into it. Like, I mean, I don't think I could pass on Justin Fields if he was there, but like if Fields is gone, I would consider offers.
I'll pass on Fields if the offer is just I can't.
Yeah.
No, let me run it for the most fun on Twitter that night, for the most chaos.
Batman will screw this. They'll be in last.
Well, we may not win, but it'll be a legendary night on Falcons Twitter.
Yeah, just because. And then we'll just take Mac Jones just to create controversy. Yep. All right.
He just wants the chaos, man.
He does.
Mac Jones at 4, then we trade up for Najee Harris.
Oh, God.
Running the Alabama backfield.
And actually mentioned that last week to me and thought that it was just a great idea.
Oh, here's something you haven't considered, Eric. We'll be Alabama.
What?
Alabama won, didn't they?
They wanted to trade down with Denver and then take a quarterback. I think it was Lance.
Mm-hmm.
And then use the extra picks to trade back up into the tail end of the first round to get Najee Harris.
You could do that, or you could take Javonte Williams and have like 90% of Najee Harris without giving up all those picks.
Why? Why would they do that? Well,
I don't know.
Well, the problem with it too is like it's fun, but it's hard to off the top of my head. I know I did that article a while back, but like first round running backs don't have the impact that a lot of people think, at least overall. Like you think of the teams that have the best running backs in the league that win the first round, like they're not winning the Super Bowl.
No.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I mean, he's not getting the full credit for the Chiefs, and they lost the Super Bowl, so it's not like he actually.
Yeah, Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, like these are not running backs
Zeke,
that have helped elevate.
Gurley.
Yeah, I mean Zeke had like a couple of years, I guess. Gurley had a couple of years, but like
no, I mean they're good, and
I
think fantasy football kind of blinds people to it, but like they're great running backs, but it's not the power of like what a quarterback can do for your team, or offensive linemen or whatever.
Right. I mean, would you rather have Derrick Henry or Travis Kelce? I'd rather have Travis Kelce. So.
If you want to win.
According to many people, Derrick Henry is the only reason Arthur Smith has a job.
You rather have Kelce than Henry? Really?
Yeah.
If it was at the very beginning, I think, because I just don't believe in running back longevity that Kelce
like
can
entire career, not like in 2021 or 2021, like entire career arc. I would want Kelce.
Yeah, we can drop Kyle Pitts, so then we can take Henry. So we'll have the best of both worlds.
Kelce's great. Don't get me wrong. But there's something about having a 6'3", 245-pound running back in your backfield. The defense, ask Baltimore about Derrick Henry.
I mean, Derrick Henry's good. Like I'm not trying to slander Derrick Henry.
They don't like to tackle him, but that's the X factor I would want to have on game days. The fact that you got to deal with this guy. Like you can tolerate Kelce to an extent. Tampa Bay just did it.
That's because Kansas City's offensive line was like a bunch of jabronis, man.
Because they had an athlete masked up against them in Levante David.
That helps,
but again, having Derrick Henry in that backfield who literally intimidates defenses, like Earl Thomas didn't want to tackle him. Josh Norman damn sure doesn't want to tackle him. It's just something.
I like Derrick Henry. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather have Travis Kelce on the roster right now and then draft Javonte Williams.
You want to know
the second round?
Because for years the Falcons have not had that closure at running back that Derrick Henry can be. That's why I'm like, give me that.
Right, but like, would you be like, what about Nick Chubb? Like Nick Chubb didn't require some premium, pick. I mean, technically Derrick Henry didn't either, but
No, but I'm looking at it from the aspect of you don't grow 6'4", 245-pound running backs like.
No, I mean Derrick Henry should probably be playing edge. He'd probably make more money. But...
Right, that's a linebacker running the football back there in the fourth quarter. Like that's just
Yeah, he's good. I just think it's easier to replicate Henry. Like I said, there's Nick Chubb. There are other good running backs than it is to replicate Kelce. That's my opinion. Who else is? I mean, other than Kittle, who was hurt this year, there's nobody else that even approaches Kelce's level of production at tight end.
I mean, we're looking at
not yet, but maybe eventually.
But let's just say Kyle Pitts hits his potential. To me, I think he's going to take that bar that George Kittle and Travis Kelce set and raise it because
probably
guy is 6'6", 240. Like the guy is Calvin Johnson size.
Yeah.
But he's getting ready to do stuff that Kelsey and Kittle can do. And guys that are 20, 25 pounds heavier. Like that's just, I look at it from that aspect. Like Kelsey and Kittle are great. Don't get me wrong. But I think we're on the verge of seeing a new wave of tight end now.
And not to get into the spirited debate, but I just wanted to answer George's question, and I'm drinking a ginger ale.
Oh, Schweppes.
Yep, Schweppes. I don't drink soda, but this.
You prefer Schweppes over Canada Dry? I'm a Canada Dry.
To be honest, I have no like. It's no difference to me.
Look, only children drink ginger ale. Okay, you guys need to drink ginger beer. Okay, that's what real men drink. Yeah.
So does that mean you'll drink? I mean, that means you'll eat like red vines over Twizzlers, or like you have to have Twizzlers?
No, I was just talking about ginger ales. Like,
I'm talking about your preference with other things.
I prefer Twizzlers over red vines, but when it comes to ginger ale, it's no difference to me. I enjoy both Canada Dry and Schweppes.
Go get some ginger beer. Yeah, go get some ginger beer.
That's gross.
It's not alcoholic. It's not. It's just called ginger beer, but it's like ginger ale with the ginger content turned up to 11. It's much better.
What's the point of drinking a non-alcoholic beer? I've never got that.
It's not really beer. It's just called ginger beer. Just like ginger ale is not really ale. Like
I'll have one of those. I'll just have one of those Schweppes bold ones that are just like insanely like upped on ginger. If I wanted to do that,
yeah. If you can find Gosling's pretty good. Ithaca ginger beer is probably my favorite. Has super good bite. Yeah.
We are really plugging ginger ale tonight.
By the way, ginger beer, guys, drink ginger beer. You know, be men, or women. You know, whoever you are, that's fine. But yeah, don't be boys and drink ginger ale. That's my take. Yeah.
It is the incorrect take. Yes.
Oh, okay, whatever. Yeah. I do want to get to Tyler Russell's question. He got here a little bit late. No problem, Tyler. Want to get to one of your questions at least. So he says, what do we think about if we don't take a quarterback in the first, any secondary quarterback options for us, maybe in like round 4 or later? You guys know I like Kellen Mond, so I would be down for Kellen Mond. I mean, I think he's certainly got issues. I don't think he's necessarily someone you want to be like a starter, but I think he's got enough going for him that he could be a quality backup and potentially a spot starter. So I think that's fair value, like on day 3. But
I'd rather not take a quarterback if we don't go go round 1.
Me too.
Like not at all. Like I feel like it would be if we take a quarterback in like the 5th or 6th round. You're not just going to take Tom Brady again. Everyone just thinks that we'll just take Tom Brady in the 6th round.
Yeah. Why not?
No, everybody. Well, not only that, but they look at Russell Wilson and say, "Man, we can find a starter like Seattle did with Russell Wilson."
Oh yeah, totally. Why don't all NFL teams do this? Yeah, why don't all NFL teams do this? It's wild.
Yeah, have they considered it?
Yeah, I don't think they have. I think they decided they needed to trade 3 firsts for Mac Jones.
Mac Jones, no matter what.
And to be quite honest with you, like you said, Kevin, this quarterback class is after the top 5. There's a notable drop off.
Oh yeah, huge drop off.
And Jamie Newman, like those guys.
I mean, it's like they're backups. Like they're backups. It's a clear second tier.
They're probably going to be journeyman quarterbacks.
Yes, and like you need one of those guys on your roster behind your starter, but like. I don't think it's worth it for the Falcons. Like to answer your question, Tyler, your secondary follow up here, the Falcons are going to sign a veteran. I don't think they're going to bother with one of those late round quarterbacks. It's either you get someone at the top or you just sign a veteran. I think that's basically where we're at. So
and I feel like if God forbid Matt Ryan does go down, then your 5th round quarterback isn't like winning you these games to be worth it.
Exactly. I'd rather trot out Justin Fields in that manner than than tell Ian Book to lace up.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie Newman is like at least interesting, like late, like, you know, because he didn't play this year. He's at least like a toolsy guy that maybe you could develop, but
we'll drop Kyle Pitts and then, you know, we can take Kyle Trask and they already have that chemistry.
God damn it, Adnan.
Kyle Trask is not good.
Do you care about this team?
I care about the chaos. Well, we're 2 weeks after the draft. I'm just having fun at this point.
Yeah, that's true. We need someone like Adnan to be in here. Yeah, to really.
Do you guys like Davis Mills at all? I keep hearing his name like randomly being kind of like brought up as like I mean, it's more of the like ESPN probably just trying to hype, shit up. But I keep hearing Davis Mills, and I'm like,
So you
wow,
guys,
that's
you know how many starts Davis Mills has?
What, like 7?
He has 10 starts.
Yeah.
10 starts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get it with Mills. I honestly don't get it. Like
he has a couple things here and there, but to me, I can't see a whole lot of difference between what he brings to the table and what Mac Jones brings to the table. It's kind of sort of like if you take Davis Mills and put him in that Alabama offense, he'll probably have Mac Jones numbers.
Right.
More likely. I don't see a whole lot of difference. He has a decent arm. He's a big guy. He's 6'4", 230. He can't run. He's not mobile whatsoever.
Yeah. Sounds like Mac Jones.
Yeah, right. So,
well, that's the thing. Like, Stanford struggled in terms of protecting Mills. If Alabama struggled to protect Mac Jones, he would have looked terrible too. Like, Mac Jones does not handle pressure well. He barely had to deal with it. So, like,
and he had okay weapons at Stanford. I mean, yeah. I don't know, man.
I just don't get it with him. But, like, he's toolsy. I get why some people think he's like redeemable, and like, yeah, maybe he is as like a QB3 for a while. See what you got. I feel the same way about Jamie Newman, but like people are talking up Mills as like a day 2 pick. I'm like, no.
Because you're taking a guy that only has 10 career starts, and you're saying we want you to take over for this franchise at some point.
Yeah,
that's a lot of faith to put in.
Yeah, I honestly don't think any quarterbacks outside of the top 5 guys deserve to be day 2 picks. Like I wouldn't take any of them on day 2 personally, but some desperate teams probably will. Like I wouldn't be shocked if Monda and Mills go day 2, and Trask maybe too. So I just don't really like Mills. I just didn't really see it, but like I could get maybe why some people like think that he has great tools or something, but like I don't know. Like, I'd probably just prefer Newman. Like, at least Newman, it's, like, more of a wild card. Like, I didn't see him put bad tape out in 2020, so maybe I could, like, convince myself.
I think he was a starter for, like, 2 years at Wake. Before he left. So, I mean, he does have some experience in it.
He does. I wouldn't say he was particularly inspiring at Wake. I think he played well at, like, the Senior Bowl and stuff, so, like, that, yeah. So I think that, like, encouraged some people, but, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really bother. Like, if the Falcons don't get someone at 4, sign a veteran and punt. Just punt on it for a year or 2. Just wait until you got someone you really like. You'll probably have to trade the farm for him. It's probably what it's going to be.
And just hope you don't end up like Carolina next year. Like, hey, we're going to get our quarterback. And, like, all of a sudden, 2 weeks before the draft, you're like, oh, shit, we can't get our quarterback.
Right. Or they'll pull, like, a Colts and just, like, Matt Ryan will retire and they'll have nothing at quarterback and they'll be terrible for a year and then they'll get Andrew Luck. So maybe we can hope for that.
There's not a path you guys want to go down.
That's not the path I would choose, but
we'll just start Curtis Painter for a year.
Oh God,
Jesus Christ!
Why do you got to bring that name up? Digging deep on that one.
Just bring TJ Yates off the bench. He's there.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. We don't even need a backup. TJ Yates is ready to go at a moment's notice.
Yates and Ragone.
Yeah. We got 2 quarterbacks. Yeah,
and they're doing it on assistant coach salaries.
Right. Exactly. That's just a bargain. That's a straight up bargain right there. So, but yeah, guys. Yeah, Evan, you got to take.
No.
Oh, okay. I just heard you unmute, so I was like, oh, Evan's got something teed up when he's ready.
I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't mean to unmute. So.
Oh, okay. He's back. He's back to quiet. He's got to call Rappaport, I think, to try to get us a scoop. But
Rappaport has to call him.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, guys, it's been over an hour, so I think we've gotten through most of the questions. I know some people sent in a bunch. We appreciate that. Just in case we don't have a bunch of questions, I think we answered at least 1 or 2 from everybody. So we do appreciate you guys sending in those questions. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. We're gonna have Brett Jukes, who is the executive vice president of the Blank family of businesses, someone who's been around the Falcons for a long time. I guess some have called him Arthur Blank's right-hand man. He's going to be on here tomorrow night to talk with us about his time with the Falcons and some other cool stuff.
Look, Kevin, look. all right, we gotta have the good silverware out for him. Okay, like we can't.
Yeah. We gotta class it up, guys. So
I'm wearing a tie tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm gonna wear a suit. Yeah.
Everybody gotta come dressed professionally. All right.
Like all the chat needs to be well behaved for Brett. So.
Yeah, some good questions. None of that. Don't bring up Kyle Pitts. Like, we need to know some business questions.
Yeah, I feel like he's just like attacking George right now.
Yeah. We're not asking him anything about Super Bowl 51, so leave that alone, okay?
Yeah. Yep. So definitely check that out, guys. Obviously, we'll have more draft takes. We'll probably rehash some of this stuff tomorrow for the folks that weren't able to tune into this. But again, we do appreciate all you guys for tuning in. We really do. Thank you so much. And all that good stuff. And again, I know you guys will tune in tomorrow, so it's pointless. But for all the people that are going to watch the show after the recording, you guys should tune in tomorrow night, Wednesday night at 8:10 p.m. Eastern. So before we take off, first of all, Gina Thomas, she's at Gina Thomas. She had to take off halfway through the show, but we appreciate her coming on for the beginning. So you can check her out there. Also with us tonight, we have Adnan Ikic. She's at Say Which Way. Adnan, anything you're working on you'd like to plug?
All right, the greatest moments bracket thing is finally going to start. I finally
it's real.
got the moment.
We promise.
Yes, it's finally real. I've been teeing this up for weeks, and I'm going to get Evan's help on it to make the bracket, and it's finally going to happen, and it'll be a voting thing where you'll vote for the best moments.
It's April Anarchy, right?
Yeah, April Anarchy, right? We're going with that.
No months, no months. It's just the greatest moments bracket.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. That's fair. Also with us, Eric Robinson. He's on Twitter at _Eric_Robinson. Eric, anything you're working on you'd like to plug?
Just putting out scouting reports, man. Just had one drop today on Hamza Nasruddin, safety out of Florida State. So give that a look. Also got one out on Richie Grant, free safety out of UCF. So we got about 23 days.
Yep.
So we're just churning out scout reports.
We are, man. You guys are a machine. Eric and Everett Glaze, who's joined us this season, doing a bang-up job with those scouting reports. Appreciate you guys taking on that for me so I can do more of like the overall looks. Definitely some quality stuff there.
A lot of film watching.
Yeah, a lot of film watching. I just dived into Fabian Moreau tape, so I really had to dig deep for that one. Just imagine watching entire games and seeing like 5 snaps of Fabian Moreau. So, I don't wish that on anyone, so I'm not going to be doing that again. But Eric Harris, I think, has more tape, so that'll be who's coming out Friday for me. Eric Harris at least started some games last year. So, also with us, Evan Birchfield at Evan Birchfield, Director of Guest Personnel. Evan, anything you're working on you'd like to plug?
No, not really. Just tune in tomorrow. Go to thefalcoholic.com for all the great content we have. Follow the Instagram account, the _Falcoholic, and thanks to I don't want to name everybody because I don't have a list of the full patrons list, but Tyler, thanks for watching. Solaire, thanks for watching. George, drive safe. It's selfless to be a patron, and we appreciate it because you can watch a lot of this for free, but it's fun to answer your questions, and just thanks for watching.
Yes, thank you guys so much. I definitely echo Evan's sentiment.
And shout out to George and all the truck drivers of America.
Yes, definitely
thank you.
Out.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all that you do for us. Like Kevin said, very, very difficult, thankless profession, but we wouldn't have the resources that we have available to us without you guys. So
Yep.
Shut up.
And spending that hard-earned money on the show, I can't think of anything better to do than that. So thanks, guys, again for that. Also, I'm Kevin Knight at Falcoholic Kevin on Twitter. I'm going to have a new mock draft on Thursday, which is going to be doing that Washington scenario I lined up earlier in the show. A lot of extra picks. We're going to go, it's going to be a spicy one. I will do a realistic stay at 4 mock as well, because I think that's actually what's going to end up happening. That's going to be later, in the process, but tons of great draft content at thefalcoholic.com. I know you guys are already there, but for anyone watching this not live, definitely check out thefalcoholic.com as well. And for anyone that wants to take part in these Q&As in the future, real easy. You just go to patreon.com/Falcoholic Live. All of the tiers will get you access to these until we get overloaded with patrons. I guess maybe one day that'll happen, that we might have to actually start filtering it. But for now, all the tiers will get you access. So check that out, guys. We really appreciate everyone for tuning in, everyone for your questions, everyone for your support. We will talk to you guys tomorrow night, Wednesday, on the YouTubes for our next show. Until then, guys, have a great night. We will see you later. Thanks again from all of us at the Falcoholic Live. Have a great night.